Mini Lesson 1. Realistic Fiction is. We have been writing a lot of nonfiction stories lately. Writers can also write fiction stories too. Sometimes writers take events that have happened to them and use pretend characters to tell the story. This is called realistic fiction. Today, I want to teach you that we can think about events that have happened to us and relate them to events that have happened in our books. Let me show you what I mean. Let's look at this chart. This chart will tell us what realistic fiction stories have in them. When we have a realistic fiction story, we always have at least one character, and this character has real character traits that make them seem like a real person, and they may be based off a real person, but they're not actually a real person. So this means that this character can't be a fairy or a mythical creature or it can't be an animal that's talking. It needs to be a true person doing real people things. In our realistic fiction stories, we need to make sure we have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And during our stories, most of the time our character is going to have a problem and a solution. And throughout the beginning and middle and end, we will show how our character has a problem and how they eventually will solve their problem. The stories will take place in a real setting, so that can happen maybe at school, at home, or the baseball field, or the dance studio, anywhere that a real person could be. Turn and talk about realistic fiction stories you have read. Maybe you have read the book Junie B. Jones series. Think about Junie B. Jones for a moment. She isn't a real person, but she could be. She experiences real life things that we do. She goes to school. She has friends. She has a mom and a dad and a sibling. And she kind of goes through some things that you guys go through in your real life. So using Junie B. Jones as an example of a realistic fiction story, turn and talk to your neighbor about other examples of realistic fiction. Very good job of coming back and sharing some great examples. I heard things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I heard things like Ruby the Copycat, which we read earlier this year. And I think those are really good examples of realistic fiction. And we're going to learn more about different realistic fiction examples through our mentor text. And we're also going to create our own realistic fiction stories. So today, when you write, think about events that have happened in your life and write a fictional story about that event using a pretend character.